The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
Shiro, hi. Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure for me to be here at the Yellow Park, where the Glovo's global headquarters are. And the reason for me and some other guys being here is Glovo Next, basically the event at which you shared the future for Glovo. I understand that you guys don't like to call the new version of Glovo the social media of food delivery, but you do have some new very interesting functionalities that do resemble some of those that people know from social media. So can you please walk me through the process? What did you change and why did you change it? What was the motivation behind it?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor to have you all at Yellow Park today. So today we are officially launching 3 very transformational features on the Glovo app that we're calling Video, Social, and Pics, right? And the whole idea is to try and transform or enrich the experience that customers have on our app and allow them to have additional layers of interactions with each other, but also with the restaurants that they've come to know and love. So the first feature that we're releasing is video. So basically think of a TikTok experience, but on the Glovo app. Even though we are vehement in the idea that we're not a social media company, but we are borrowing some of these experiences that consumers have come to know and love on other platforms and embedding them into the Glovo experience. So now we'll have restaurants who are already creating this content in some way, shape, or form and sharing them on their social media platforms, but we are giving them assets and space on our platform for them to embed these videos there. And we're giving customers direct access to this content and allowing them to actually purchase directly from as they view the feed on the app. The second feature that we're launching is Pics. So we've heard a lot from our customers talking about the ability or lack thereof of being able to curate their selection on the app. So for example, if I want to have a selection of healthy meals or healthy restaurants, it was difficult before for me to actually have a place where I could go to and just see all the healthy restaurants or healthy selections that I have. So with Pics, we're changing that. You're basically able to create, think of it like a playlist of some sorts on the Glovo app. And the final thing that we are launching today is a feature called Social. And essentially what this means is you are able to have connections with people around you, so your friends. And this is essentially the circle of people who are pulled out of your phone book. So friends that you have, hopefully on the Glovo app, but also within your phone book, are able to receive signals from you around things that you like or preferences that you have. And this kind of brings everything together neatly into creating a more communal experience to Glovo. So this is what the launch is all about.
I understand the motivation behind including social media features in the app, because basically TikTok, Instagram Reels, all of that is very, very important in today's world. But can you please explain what is the business rationale behind the decision? What is that you're trying to achieve with the new features? Is it customer retention, new customer acquisition, or what it is?
We have always had it in the back of our minds as Glovo to create transformational experiences for our customers. And we had to be very intentional about this because for the longest time, like any other tech company, you would stick to the core experience that you're building for your users. But now we're trying to be a lot more bold and ambitious and venturing into new areas through what we call bets. And you could think of that as innovation projects. And so as a company, we've had to be very intentional about reserving capacity and resources to venture into these areas that could take off or could fail, right? So in terms of motivation, this is more of us venturing into a bold new area to try and give customers an experience that they ordinarily would not have thought of getting from a mainstream food delivery platform. And then get signals from them about, what they think about it or how they interact with it, and use it to continue iterating either on the same path or try something completely different. So call it innovation. This is us taking a bold new step towards really thinking outside the box in terms of what a mainstream food delivery experience should look like, or on-demand or multi-category delivery experience should look like.
Sure. During the presentation, you mentioned and you explained how tech team of Glovo went through the changes through which now we have the new social media features within the app. But you also mentioned that the time frame for the changes, for the implementation of changes, was quite small. My first question is, why was it so small, so little? And also, could you explain what sort of changes and what sort of mechanics your team went through so that you could have implemented the decisions and changes that we now see in the Glovo app?
Yeah. So the first thing we did, and we do this try and do this on a regular basis, is get creative ideas from our tech team on a very regular basis. And we do this through a series of hackathons where we put teams together and they come up with amazing new ideas. But what used to happen is that a lot of these ideas, well, most of them obviously would not make it to the mainstream app. And what we launched with this Glovo Next event was actually born out of some of these ideas, right? Our typical process involves, running focus groups with users, pulling a lot of data around utilization of the app, and using some of these signals, or a lot of these signals, to come up with what would fall into a product roadmap. And then our teams would go out and kind of work on these projects. But this was essentially different because we had these ideas sourced from the team from over a year ago, and so we'd been slowly thinking about this, and we ran focus groups with some customers and tried to see kind of what their reaction would be to having a video experience or a social experience or a Pix experience on the app. And so typically this user research phase of the development project, you could think of it as typically done, which then meant that bringing the project to life became a much more kind of time box process. So I'd say it wasn't necessarily too short of a time. It was more like it was kind of years in preparation in the making, and so this made the team kind of focused in realizing or bringing this project to life.
My assumption is that you talk to a lot of partner organizations, be them restaurants, cafes, shops, etc. What is the initial reaction of those people when they heard the new functionalities, the new features that you wanted to introduce to the Glovo app? And what do they think now, since the time frame expanded a bit?
From a customer's perspective and the partners that we've spoken to so far, it's a compelling idea. They love it. And it's important to remember that a lot of our partners were already creating this content to begin with, right? You go on Instagram or TikTok and follow any restaurant that you love, you will find a lot of the content that we're now bringing into the food delivery app experience already in existence. So to us, it's more kind of like a neat consolidation of things that already exist in different platforms on the platform that actually allows them to transact or interact with their customers. So the response has been positive so far. We have rolled this out now to more people, and we'll continue collecting signals and iterating as we go.
Yeah, whatever you say is also incredibly good for SMEs, which consist a big part of Glovo's partners, and in general for Georgia, they are very important. But let me ask you this. I understand that the general time frame is not set for sure yet. You've launched in Barcelona, but what is the more or less specific time frame that you can share for the updates to be launched in other Glovo countries, such as Georgia, for example?
So I can't get into too much detail about the rollout process because it also involves us getting signals as we launch city by city. This is our typical process on the tech side, but it will be available worldwide in the coming months.
Shiro, thank you very much for your time, for your answers. It was a pleasure to host an interview here at the Yellow Park.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.